أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Alhamdulillah, indeed, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him and seek His help and forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from our soul's evils and our wrongdoings. He whom Allah guides, no one can misguide, and He whom He misguides, no one can guide. And I bear witness there is no God except Allah, alone without any partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad is His servant and messenger. I'd like to start off, inshallah, by thanking the organizers for inviting me here today to share some of my experience, inshallah, which I hope will be helpful for each and every one of you, as it's been helpful for me. Putting out a conference like this is no easy task by any means, so may Allah reward and bless all of those who have been part of organizing this, and inshallah for all of you for attending today. Inshallah it's a sadaqah jariyah for all of you on the Day of Judgment. Inshallah I'd like to start off my talk. I always like to keep, I always find for myself whenever I learn, the more lighter the conversation is, the better. So inshallah, if it's okay with everybody, if I have everyone's permission, first of all, I'm going to speak in English, if that's okay. But I also want to start off with a joke, and I'll say the joke in English and Farsi because it's short, and then after that, inshallah, I'll start the talk. Is there any objections to starting off with a joke? No. So, and since I'm a doctor, I'll start with a doctor joke. And also today is the Canadian Afghan Sports Association. They're holding a soccer tournament. So I'll try to combine the two of them together. So one day a man came to a doctor, and he told the doctor, you know what, I have a very embarrassing problem that I need to talk to you about. I'm ashamed to even tell you what the problem is. Doctor said, my problems the doctor replied and he said, no, it's okay, don't worry about it. Everything that you say stays between us. We have a patient-doctor relationship. And so, don't worry about it. You can say whatever you want. You don't feel embarrassed. Doctor مریض گفت که ایش رای نزن خیلی مریض اسم دکتر هستم کدام دفعه نیست هر چی پرابلم داشته باشی بر من بگو واضح بگو هیچ کدام دفعه نیست هیچ نزن. So after that, the man told the doctor, he said, for the last few nights, in my dreams, when I'm sleeping, I keep having dreams that I'm playing soccer with a bunch of cows. مریض گفت برای دکتر که هر شب چند شب میشه که من خواب میبینم که شبکی همراه گوسفند من فوتبال میزنم. So the doctor said, okay, no problem. I know exactly what your problem is. I'm going to give you some medication. You take it tonight. Starting tonight, and inshallah you'll be cured. And doctors in Afghanistan, they love giving prescription medications for every problem, whether it needs it or not. So, and this is a doctor in Afghanistan, not here. So the patient, so Dr. Barish گفت که ایش رای نزن ایش کدام دفعه نیست من برات نسخه میدم یک چند تا دواست امشب بخور سر از امشب بخیر جور میشی. The man replied to the doctor, he said, you know what doctor, is it okay if I start taking the medications tomorrow night? مریض بر دکتر گفت میشه از دکتر صاحب که امی دوا را سر سواش شروع کنم. The doctor replied, he said that's weird, why would you want to start taking it tomorrow? You're coming to me with a problem, you want it to have me solved, why don't you take it tonight? دکتر بر مریض گفت چرا از امشب نمیخوایی بگیری؟ گفتی برما پیش ما آمدی گفتی که این تکلیف داری. The man replied, he said, tonight's the finals. مریض پس برش جواب داد گفتم شب فاینال است. So inshallah, with that said, I'm gonna start my a few words I want to share with you guys today. Inshallah, if everybody benefits and can focus, inshallah, at the end of the presentation too, if you guys want, I can share another joke. Okay, so today I've been asked to talk about how to make a balance between your professional life and non-religious life and with your religious life. And to be quite honest, I'm humbled to be asked to speak about this because mashallah, I know most of the brothers who've actually organized this have much more experience and have accomplished a lot more than I have in both areas. But inshallah, I'm going to do my best to try to talk about these issues. So first of all, to talk about balancing in this society here today, and maybe around the world as well, is very, very challenging. I'll be the first one to tell you that subhanAllah, we have so many responsibilities here, and it's very stressful. So I want to start off by acknowledging that. We have the issue, we have stresses on us from school, from employment, our jobs, from our family members, and each family member takes a lot of our time, our responsibility to our parents, our grandparents, our siblings, our spouses if we're married, our children. So each one of these takes a lot of our time and energy. And then there's extended family, in-laws, cousins, our friends who we have to make time for and commit to. Our community, of course, because all of us are here today, alhamdulillah, the Masjid Nabawiah is a community center for us, and all the other community works that we do outside of the Masjid. There's things that we want to do for ourselves, our entertainment, our hobbies, playing sports, going camping, traveling. And then of course there's religion, right? We have to make our 5 times prayers, finding time to read Quran and other things like that take a lot of time. And then on top of that, if there's any time left, there's our own personal time. Time we want to just relax, we want to read a book that we've been wanting to read, etc., etc. Fitness, going to the gym, keeping healthy, whatever you name it, you need some time for yourself. So I just listed a few things that came to my mind. I'm sure there's many other things I've missed, but if you can just imagine how many responsibilities all of us have, it's very challenging and it's very difficult, and it's not easy to balance it. So it's something that I'm still learning and I haven't even come close to mastering, but inshallah, the few things that I have learned I hope to share with you, and if you guys have any other tips, I'll be happy to learn as well. So the first thing that I found helps you to balance everything, first and foremost, is to have a vision, to have a purpose. And inshallah, feel free to write any of these things down if you want to record it on your phone. Inshallah, I'm sure the brothers are recording it as well to put it up later, but some of these might be things that you might actually, I want to give you guys practical tips that you guys can take from here today, and inshallah implement it from tonight or tomorrow, and start seeing results, because that's the only kind of information that I find useful, something that I can use right away. So inshallah, I hope this will be useful for you. So the first thing is to have a vision, and it's the center for everything that we do in our life, but we should also have a much broader, big single vision at the end of it. And alhamdulillah, as Muslims, Allah has already given us our sense of purpose. He's articulated, not very complicated or made it hard for us to understand. He said it so beautifully in just one ayah of the Quran. In Surah 51, Allah says in Surah Dariyat, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. So Allah has already given us in the very essence our sense of purpose, and just that alone, we might not think about it because we've heard it said so many times in khutbah and other places we've heard this verse. But really, when you think about it and you think to yourself, why am I here? What's my purpose? And Allah has already made it very easy for us. And today I want to talk about what that liya'budun means, because liya'budun is such can be taken in such a broad context. Because what is worship, right? And alhamdulillah, also in Islam, one of the beautiful things that I found about Islam is how broad the term of worship can be extended to. And if you think about worship from a point of view of the 5 pillars of Islam, right? That's the first thing. When I think of worship, the first thing that comes to my mind is prayer, right? Salah. And Salah is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, right? So the first, we have Shahada, we have our 5 times prayers, we have Hajj, we have Zakat, and we have fasting, which is coming up inshallah. And most of these we don't actually have to do for a lot of Muslims, right? For Hajj, you only have to do it if you can afford it, right? And subhanAllah, there's a billion or so Muslims in the planet. How many of those Muslims can actually afford to go for Hajj? Because it's from here it costs what, like $12,000. Even from here, some people might never be able to afford to go for Hajj. So even that condition is waived. You don't have to do it if you can't meet that condition. The second one is zakat as well. You have a condition to meet. If you don't meet a certain threshold of income, you don't even have to pay a single zakat in your whole life. And that's one of the pillars of Islam. The third one is fasting. Most of us have to do fasting, but there's a lot of exceptions for people who are ill, or for women if they're pregnant or menstruating, things like that. And we can just pay some money, and that condition is waived as well. So the only 2 things that are left that all of us have to do. I'm asked to speak a little bit louder, Jazakallah for letting me know. So the only 2 things we really have to do is, one, have the shahada, which really doesn't take a lot of work, right? You just say the testament of faith, but you believe it in your heart. And the second one is salah, right? And salah is the one thing that we have pretty much no excuse. No matter where you are, what your situation is, you can pray with your eyes, right? And you have to do that 5 times out of the day. And for sure, for some of us, it's difficult. And subhanAllah, even Musa alayhi salam had predicted it would be difficult for us. And he advised our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that, this is going to be hard for your ummah. 50 was hard. And then when he bargained it down to 5, he said it was hard. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, subhanAllah, in his wisdom, he felt embarrassed to ask to decrease it. So alhamdulillah, we have the 5 prayers that all of us have to do. And that sometimes can pose a challenge, especially the Fajr prayer. But for the most part, that's the only thing really that Allah asks for us to do, that's just for Him, right? We pray not for anyone else, we pray just for Allah. But subhanAllah, out of these 5 things, everything else we do in our life falls under the category of interpersonal interactions. Getting married, business, everything else. All of that can also count as worship, right? And really, when you think about your life, how much time we spend in prayer, and how much maybe prayer the whole day, maybe 1 hour of the day. We have 23 hours, and you want to maybe subtract sleep as well. But even sleep can count as worship for us if we do the right things, right? So 23 hours of worship almost every single day we can have, which is such a huge amount. And subhanAllah, and in the Quran, Allah tells us what's our purpose on earth, and then He sent us the messenger, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to show us how to practice our religion, right? And what did Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about himself? He said, I'm here to perfect good character. Right? He didn't say, I came here to show you how to pray, how to make your 5 times salah. I didn't come here to show you how to pay zakah or to do any of the 5 pillars. He didn't actually talk about any of the 5 pillars, because none of the 5 pillars have to do with character. He said, I'm here to perfect character. And that's really, in my opinion, the essence and the beauty of our religion is that it's so practical on the ground, on a day-to-day basis. So if everything has to do with if most of our religion has to do with our behavior, then inshallah, for us to be successful in both the Dunya and the Akhira, to balance everything, inshallah, as long as we keep that in the back of our mind, that our job is to worship Allah, and to worship Allah we need to perfect our good character, in addition to our prayer and the other 5 pillars. And so I think that's what I want to focus my talk on today, is what are some of the things that we can do on a day-to-day basis to help us with our character, and also to tie that character into how we can maximize our benefit in this life. How can we become excellent in our career, inshallah, in our education, in everything that has to do with our day-to-day living, and being good to our family members, etc. So things like financial contracts, marriage contracts, being a good neighbor, helping to save lives here or abroad, even subhanAllah, cleaning garbage off the floor, smiling at somebody, all of these things for us count as ibadah, but not only do they count as ibadah, but they also further us in our worldly life. Think about if you're a business person or you're an employer and you want to hire somebody, and you have one employee who comes in every day smiling, always happy, humble, and you have somebody else who's always frowning, and Farsi we say peshanish turshas, right? Which one of those are you going to hire, right? You're going to hire the one who's smiling, right? And I do a lot of coaching I help a lot of students to help prepare them for medical school interviews, right? Because those interviews make such a huge difference of whether or not you're going to, all your hard work, you're going to get into med school or not. So, alhamdulillah, same thing, a lot of Muslims help. When I had my interviews, I got so much help. So now we help pass that on. And whenever I interview students, I always tell them, honestly, all the advice I give them is 100% from the Sunnah. I tell them to smile to the interviewer. I tell them to be humble when they're talking. When they ask you, tell me about yourself, a common interview question. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, right? I don't tell them anything that's outside of the Sunnah. Everything that I tell them is always, and we teach that here in secular. I don't know how much they teach us in school to smile and be humble and all these things, but these are things that they teach us, for example, in medical school to be kind, be good doctors for our patients. And when I teach the pre-medical students for their interview, I just feel like I'm just similar, like I'm talking to you guys today about perfecting good character and religion and Islam. It all counts as worship. You smile at someone, you're kind to them, you're humble to them. Not only do they like you, but Allah loves you for it as well, right? So that's the win-win. And alhamdulillah, Islam makes it so easy for us to get the win-win. But unfortunately,